Let me take this opportunity to welcome you to this meeting. I am not going to waste any time because today we are dealing with a very important matter. Let me welcome again honorable members from the provinces, if they are in our midst. They are welcome, they must participate, because when they are in our meeting, they have the right to participate. By so saying, you are welcome to this meeting today. Amanda, let me get the agenda for today. Amanda or Bulero, whoever you stay, the agenda. Bulero. Bulelo. Amanda. Amanda. Oh, okay.
Hi, good morning, Chair.
Yes, the agenda for today.
It is up, is it not showing?
Oh, the apology, the briefing by the Department of Environment, Fishery, Forestry and Fishery on so small, searching solid waste management objective in individual province, performance per province, challenges and successes. And then the second one is consideration of the adoption of the report and the minutes. Let me check whether we do have quorum. Yes, we do correct. Any apologies?
There is an apology, Chair, from Honorable Mukause. She is not feeling well.
Okay. Only the apology from our side. Okay. Honorable DM.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yeah, the team is here. The only apology that we have is the minister's apology, who is leading our team to the portfolio committee at NA.
Oh, thank you very much, DM. It's important for you to be here when the minister is that side. Yeah, at least we can see that really this department are taking us serious. I am not going to waste any time. DM, I'm going to give a political overview. Then from there, you give your team to present to us.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and good morning to all honorable members and to department officials. Indeed, Chairperson, when you opened in your remarks, you said that today we are dealing with a very important issue. That is this topic of today's meeting. It's a very important one. We all know, especially when it comes then to the performance of provinces that will get then the status from the department. As you might know that provinces are not doing as well as they are supposed to be. There is a lot of intervention work that we have embarked on as a department with regard to the management of the waste in provinces and in municipalities. But I think the department, when they take us through, you will then get that kind of information from the presentation. I'm joined then by our department's delegation, which is led by DDG Mamukhala Mosikene, who is responsible for chemicals and waste management in the department. That's a specific branch that she's leading. She's here with her team, then they are going to take us through the presentation and give us the status of this topic in the municipalities. Let me then chair through yourself without wasting any time. Can I then give over to DDG Mamokhala to take us through the presentation and also maybe introduce the team that is accompanying her. Thank you very much, my chairperson. Thanks to the members. DDG?
Good morning, honorable members.
Sorry,
and-
Chairperson. Sorry, Chair.
Yes, Honorable
Honorable Makwala. Yes,
Honorable Magwana.
yes, I've raised my hand before the deputy minister was about to land worker to do a land work, a political overview.
Okay.
Chair, before the department does the land work, the presentation, I've got I don't know if it's only me that didn't receive this briefing before in terms of this briefing that or this presentation that is going to be land work to be presented today. I wanted to check in that. The only email I received is from Amanda yesterday about the notice of the meeting. Thank you.
Amanda, why Honorable Amanda and Bulelo, why Honorable Magwala didn't receive the presentation? Because I got it myself.
I'm not sure what happened, Chair, because we use the same list when we send our presentations, and presentations were sent on Saturday already.
Okay. Honorable Magwala, let me take the responsibility of this to apologize on behalf of our team. It seems maybe there is a problem because I did receive my presentation on Saturday. That's why I'm asking them what happened, why they jump you. I'm really apologize, Honorable. I know you wanted to participate, you wanted to have more information because when you get the presentation on time, you will go through it, and then from there you'll participate. It is not our intention to not to send to you, really. Maybe there is a problem with between the email of Amanda or Bulelwa to your email. I'm really apologizing, sir.
No, it's fine when I chairperson, but I always receive their emails. But this one is the first time. Even this morning, I even went through my emails. There's nothing, but it's fine. We can continue. We'll just have to take note that the department is presenting.
No, thanks.
Not the
It's not
first
going to happen again. I'll check day before the department arrives to check to all members whether they did receive the presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, DM and your team. DDG, you can continue.
Sorry, Chair. Good morning.
Yes, Honorable Ngwenya.
Chair, I was thinking that if ever there's members that didn't get the document, that document can be emailed right now. Send that when the presenter make the presentation, at least we'll go through it, then and able to have questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mama. Amanda, do that immediately, Nana.
Chair,
Yes,
Chair.
Honorable Labuskapni.
I also didn't receive the presentation. Thank you.
I will.
So if they mail it now, I would like them to include me. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Amanda and Bulelwa,
Excuse me, Chair.
please.
I have also
Send
not
to-
received the documentation. If they can include me as well, please.
Can you send to everyone except me because Mina, I receive it. Amanda and Bulelwa. We apologize, honorable members, for that.
I have forwarded it to everyone already, Chair, again.
Okay. Did you receive it, honorable members?
Yes,
No,
Chair, we did. Mine, I've got it long time ago, Chair. I don't know what's
Okay.
happened today. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Sorry, DDG, for interrupting you. Can you continue with the presentation, ma'am?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. With regard to the presentation that the department will be making today, I will also take the members through the various legislative measures that have been put in place in respect to waste management. What is of critical importance is the roles that the different spheres of government play as it relates to waste management. On the next slide is just an outline, mainly based on the briefing that we are doing today. On the next slide, the overarching legislation is our Constitution, Section 24, which provides a right to an environment that is not harmful to health and well-being, and also for this environment to be protected for the benefit of current and future generations through legislative and other measures. Also in the same constitution, the concurrence with regard to the environmental mandate is provided for, given that some of the functions we share with the provinces. And to that effect, we also have intergovernmental relations structures, MINMEC and MINTEC structures, for us to enable the coordination between the three spheres of government. Also, in the same constitution, Schedule 5, refuse removal services are the function of the municipalities, and it is provided for. On the next slide, one of the key legislation that we have put in place to be able to assure the constitutional right to the environment that is not harmful to health and well-being is the National Environmental Management Waste Act, which is a specific environmental management act. And it also provides for the relevant areas with regard to the concurrent functions. It focuses specifically on waste management and provides for the different responsibilities across the three spheres. Also, the responsibilities that are linked to MECs with regard to specific policies. One key policy responsibility relates to the integrated waste management plans, because as a national government, we need to have one, which we do have, which is the National Waste Management Strategy, but also the provinces, they need to have the integrated waste management plan, as well as the municipalities. These plans are meant to guide the activities and actions that needs to be undertaken in the waste management space. The Waste Act also has got various regulations focusing on specific areas, and some also looking into specific local government responsibilities aligned to some of the Municipal Systems Act requirements. I've also touched on the National Waste Management Strategy. I will go into detail in other slides. On the next slide, it's just to provide an indication of the key policy instruments that are guiding waste management. The Waste Act provides for the National Waste Management Strategy, and it has to be reviewed every 5 years. And the recent review that we have done was in 2020, which is our third National Waste Management Strategy that we are currently implementing. We do have the Integrated Pollution and Waste Management Policy. also what informed the base for the strategy in 2011 is the waste information baseline report. We have since reviewed and the latest National State of Waste report that we are currently using is 2018. Currently in this year, we have started the process of working on the next version of the National State of Waste report. We have gone through amendments of the Waste Act, and the latest being the amendment that was published in 2022. We are working on proclamation in terms of some of the provisions that have been amended. We also have a policy with regard to the provision of basic refuse removal services to indigent households. That is a policy that was put in place in 2011. On the next slide is just to inform the committee about the various policy instruments. These policy instruments are specific to a policy we refer to as extended producer responsibility. It is part of the polluter pay principle policies, wherein producers and manufacturers of specific products, in this case, the products that are listed on the slide, we have put in regulations to ensure that they provide for the management of their products at the end of life. So there are extended producer responsibility fees that they contribute to as part of the EPR schemes, and we have started implementation focusing on paper, packaging, and some single-use products, electrical and electronic equipment, and lighting equipment. For these three, the first three, the implementation started in 2022. And for lubricant oils, batteries, and pesticide, we've just finalized the notices, and currently in this year, we are registering the producers of these products, and towards the end of the year, we will also be working with National Treasury with regard to approving the relevant EPR fees for these products. And from 2023, they will then have to comply with specific targets for recycling that have been set in the notices. We are also currently finalizing the tire industry waste management plan that assists with the management of waste tires through the tire levy that is collected through SARS, some of which is also provided to the department through the Waste Management Bureau for the management of waste tires. On the next slide is just an indication of the amount of waste that we have been able to divert using the EPR policy and the schemes that I have indicated. For paper and packaging, we were able to divert over 1.6 million tons in 2022. For electrical and electronic equipment, it's 41,000 tons that we were able to divert. And for lighting equipment, it's about 195 tons that we were able to divert. On the next slide, it's an indication of the various norms and standards that we have put in place in order to guide and direct the management of waste. We have the norms and standards on assessment of waste landfill disposal in order to ensure that we guide with regard to the types of waste that can be disposed of at the various categories of landfill sites, as well as the liners that are applicable with regard to specific location settings in order to protect the environment, including the groundwater. So we also have norms and standards for domestic waste collection based on the settlements types and the density in terms of population. There are various types of service levels that can be provided by the municipalities. So we do have standards on that. Storage of waste as well. We do provide even for the thresholds that can be stored, and that also is managed depending on whether it's hazardous waste or types of waste. It can be managed by the national department or the provincial department if it's a general waste. So we do have those also. Organic waste composting, which is it's a bigger portion of the waste that is being generated. We have provided for standards there as well as organic waste treatment, which also covers biogas generation. On the next slide, I'll be taking you through our National Waste Management Strategy 2020. The Waste Act requires that we put the strategy in place, and we have gone through a number of revisions as indicated earlier on. The latest one being the one that was gazetted on the 28th of January 2021. We refer to it as the 2020 National Waste Management Strategy, as it was approved in 2020. On the next slide, just to indicate the 3 pillars of this National Waste Management Strategy. The first pillar, focusing on waste minimization. The target there that we have set for ourselves in the country collectively is that we want to divert 45% of waste from landfill within the 5 years starting from 2021-2022 financial year, and then gradually taking that up to 70% in terms of the long-term vision with regard to a diversion of waste from landfill. The second pillar relates to effective and sustainable waste services. This pillar links to the work that municipalities do on a daily basis with regard to refuse removal and cleansing services in order to ensure that South Africans live in clean communities. There are aspects of sustainability as it relates to the cost recovery that is involved, which is a part of the broader actions that are under Pillar 2. Also, Pillar 3 links to compliance, enforcement, and awareness. Of key importance is changing the behavior, especially linked to littering, the behavior of the general public. So we need to also be raising awareness, targeting different stakeholders as well as households, but also because we have put in place a legislation and maybe at the municipal level also bylaws at the provincial level also, given that provinces also enforce compliance with regard to waste management licensing of the various landfill sites. We need to promote and enforce compliance as part of ensuring that the governance system is working. So it's part of ensuring that it is clear who is responsible for what in terms of compliance monitoring and enforcement. So there are various actions that are part of the National Waste Management Strategy with regard to responding to Pillar 3. On the next slide, it's just to emphasize the role of national government with regard to waste management. Of critical importance is the reasonable legislative measures that need to be put in place as per the Constitution requirements, and I've spoken to some of those legislative measures that we have put in place, and also some of the programs that I will touch briefly on, including that also cover waste pickers, as well as enterprises that are operating as part of the waste economy. We, as the department, have also prepared what is our integrated waste management plan, which is our national waste management strategy. It covers all sectors that have got a role to play with regard to waste management. So it's not only focused on the department, and hence even with the approval process, it was approved but through cabinet process. We've also we also report on the implementation of the National Waste Management Strategy, and to coordinate the implementation, the MinTech structures, which includes the national, province, as well as municipalities, are also part of the work program. We have an annual work program where we coordinate the sector's performance in the space. So the reporting also happens on a quarterly basis with regard to the actions that are part of the implementation plan of the strategy. We also set national norms and standards as referred to earlier on. We have a designated national waste management officer, which is myself. We've also declared priority wastes that we need to focus on. The Section 18 notices, which I had referred to in the earlier slides in terms of slide 7, paper packaging, electrical and electronic, lighting, lubricant oils, batteries and pesticides, and tires are all part of the waste that have been prioritized. And for those priority waste, we have specific legislative tools to also ensure that we are able to direct and be effective in our efforts to manage this priority waste. We also have designated licensing authorities. So us as national, we are responsible for licensing hazardous waste facilities, while the provinces focus on general waste facilities. As a national, we've also established a waste information system, a South African Waste Information System. It is an electronic system where some of the provinces are making use of it, because there's also a provision that provinces can also which is a discretion of the province, they can establish their own. On the next slide, maybe just to continue, given that the strategy is not only about the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, but also other national departments that have got a role to play in waste management. The Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, together with the National Cleaner Production Center, they also have an interest in ensuring that they manage the socio-economic impact of EPR schemes. So they also promote waste minimization and circular economy through a program called Industrial Symbiosis, wherein some of the companies that have got use, for example, waste, some of the waste products that could be inputs into their production processes, they are able to symbiotically work together to ensure that there is waste minimization. Also from the DTIC, working with the South African Bureau of Standards in terms of standards that are applicable. For example, when you talk plastic carrier bags, we do have the SABS standard in terms of the quality of the bags that can be put on the market, and linked to that, the compulsory specification that is part of us regulating the specific prioritized products. We also have the Department of Science and Innovation together with the CSIR and Technology and Innovation Agency. The CSIR assists us with setting the research agenda that would assist the waste management. We do have the Waste Research Development and Innovation Roadmap. It has got key focus area that needs to be researched and where development needs to take place together with innovation to assist us in the management of pollution arising from waste. The Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, given that we have energy that can be generated from waste, they also are part of the sector. Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, with regard to agriculture, and also there is working together with regard to reducing food losses that can arise as part of the food production value chain, given that some of the wastes, which is organic waste, also have got implications for pollution in terms of the emissions that are generated from organic waste. On the next slide is also a continuation, the Department of Health, because of the healthcare risk waste that needs to be managed. The Department of Basic Education, in order to instill the culture of education and awareness at very early stages, given that it has proven to bring about a change in the behavior. The Department of Transport, with regard to transboundary movement of waste. The South African Police Service, together with the National Prosecuting Authority, given that the regulations, they need to be enforced, and if there are non-compliances or offenses, then we need to be working with the police and the prosecuting authority to bring the offenders to book. Provincial government, they also have a role to play with regard to planning, so they need to have integrated waste management plan. They also need to report annually on the implementation of this integrated waste management plan. They could also set specific provincial norms and standards, and they are required to also designate waste management officers they need to license municipal waste, solid waste facilities, and also enforce compliance and act on non-compliances. Also make sure that they do have the environmental management inspectorate, those are the green scorpions, and may establish a waste information system. So Gauteng and Western Cape have done that. On the role of local government, also they need to have integrated waste management plans that are integrated into their integrated development plans. They also need to ensure that municipal waste services are at an affordable price. Bylaws that are specific to waste services in terms of removal, storage, and even illegal dumping. Also having a designated waste management officer, also providing for receptacles for waste and so on, and managing the generation of waste through setting guidelines for households. So the challenges are in this area relating to municipal solid waste. Approximately, we have a generation of about 54 million tons of municipal waste that is generated per annum. And most of this waste is disposed of at landfill sites. As the programs that we have set is trying to reduce what gets to landfill sites. We have a challenge that about a quarter of our households are not receiving services, refuse collection services from the municipalities. Because most of the waste end up at landfill sites, the landfill sites are under pressure, so the landfill airspace is consumed very fast. Landfill sites are very expensive, so we want to try and move away from landfilling most of our waste. And through the CSIR, through the waste roadmap that I had referred to earlier on, the waste economy is there, and if we are able to recycle or recover the energy from the waste, we are talking about 25 billion potential that lies there that we could tap into. So some of the challenges in terms of the backlogs, in terms of ensuring that our communities they are active on with regard to the environmental agenda, just to raise awareness. On the next slide, the integrated waste management plans, most of our municipalities do not have this integrated waste management plans, and it's an area of focus that both national and provinces, the environment authorities are putting in focus support. With regard to waste collection, it varies from municipality to municipality. In the metro areas, 70% to 90% have access to refuse removal. However, in provinces that are largely rural, most of those outskirts areas, they do not have refuse collection and services. On the next slide, just to indicate that funding is a priority area in order to address the waste management challenges. From the Division of Revenue Act, we have the Municipal Infrastructure Grant that is provided for local municipalities to be able to utilize that budget for waste services and addressing some of the backlogs, because it is not ring-fenced solely for waste management. we have engaged the department at the National Treasury in order to look into a study to inform the business case for a standalone dedicated grant for waste services. So this work is currently taking place now in terms of the study. On the next slide is statistics providing an indication. So the 3 provinces that do not have reviewed integrated waste management plans are Northern Cape, Free State, and KZN. And Northern Cape and KZN, they've made a commitment to finalize by March 2024, and KZN has made a commitment to finalize in this year. The numbers there, the column of number of municipalities and number of municipalities with integrated waste management plans is just to give an indication of how many municipalities have reviewed waste management plans. And you can note that we still have got a long way to go in areas such as the Northern Cape, with regard to ensuring that provinces as well as ourselves as national support these respective municipalities to have clear plans to address waste management. On the next slide, slide 22 next, is just to also give an indication, especially with regard to the authority role of municipalities, the waste bylaws, because for aspects such as illegal dumping and littering, the enforcement is enhanced when there are waste bylaws in place. So that column gives an indication of how many municipalities in a respective province have got the waste bylaws and how many are still going through the necessary council processes to put the bylaws in place. Also an indication, the generation of waste and how much of that waste is being recycled, how much is being disposed of. It's the column South African Waste Information Service reporting, just to indicate there are also challenges with regard to some municipalities not being able to report, some maybe because the way bridges are not working and so on. So it's an area of support that we are also working with the respective municipalities to address. Also the indication of the waste management officer designation, how many municipalities have designated, and such that it's clear with regard to who in the municipality is responsible for ensuring that waste services are being provided and so forth. I think those are the indications per municipality and per province. On the next slide, slide 24, we do have a program targeted at enterprises, small and medium enterprises that are working in the recycling space. This is also to assist, given that there are economic opportunities that are linked to waste management. So we have established this program as a department, and in this current year, we are supporting 32 enterprises across the country to assist with the diversion of waste and tap into that that resource that if it's not used, we are losing to landfill sites. Overall, To date, we have been able to support 56, including the 32 that we are currently supporting. And we also work with the Department of Small Business Development, together with their entities, CEDA and SIPA, to assist these enterprises. On the next slide is an indication of in which provinces these enterprises are located, and we do have the information that we can provide the specifics, but it's over 371 jobs that have been supported and created as part of this support program. And for the amount of money that has been spent on this, it's close to over 150 million linked to the program since its inception. On the next slide, what is critical to waste management? It's because waste management is heavy on logistics. We have also worked to support municipalities with regard to the fleet, which is the waste compactor trucks and some of the TLBs that are used in the management of the landfill sites or clearing illegal dumps where they have occurred. So it was just meant to assist based on some of the reprioritized budget of the department. However, in terms of sustainability, the work that we are doing with the Department of Cooperative Governance, together with the National Treasury, on re-looking and reviewing the grants, and also working on a standalone grant, is meant to address. Previously, municipalities couldn't use MIG to purchase the yellow fleet, but we have since worked with National Treasury and DCOC to review, and now they are able to, if they are able to prioritize, to use that budget to purchase the fleet. And also the same for urban settlements development grant under the human settlements. For now, there has been a change that they can be able to use that grant to purchase a yellow fleet. On the next slide, just to indicate that for this yellow fleet support, we've spent over 164 million. And on the next slide, a number of municipalities have benefited with regard to the yellow fleet support that we have assisted. And then just the next slide is a summary of the support that we are applying together with the provinces on the integrated waste management development, as well as bylaws. On infrastructure support, we have worked with the Infrastructure South Africa to ensure that we establish a program called Waste Flagship Program, which is part of the strategic infrastructure projects. It will also benefit from getting investor support, because most of the infrastructure that is required in waste management will need external finance to make the operations viable. So it's an area of support that we are working with Infrastructure South Africa. We have a Working on Waste program where buyback centers, transfer stations, material recovery facilities are being implemented. I've talked to Recycling Enterprise Support. We also have the Good Green Deeds program, also covering municipal cleaning and greening, and also working with SALGA on providing the on-the-job hands-on training for councillors and municipal officials, given the high staff turnover at local government level. So on the next two slides, which is part of the conclusion, we have prioritized a number of towns across the country for dedicated support. And this part of the program is meant to assist with three key areas. On the next slide, the cleaning and greening, wherein trees would be planted, especially in open spaces that are prone to littering and illegal dumping, to ensure that the cleanliness levels are improved. The aim is to plant 40,000 trees by the end of September, which is the Arbor month. And by the end of March, it will be a total of 72,500 trees. And the mass public employment, the expanded public works program approach is being used for supporting these municipalities to keep these urban centers clean. So it's a partnership that the department is working with the provinces as well as the municipalities to support the stipends for the participants, while the municipality provides the necessary PPE and the cleaning tools and the daily monitoring of these participants with regard to cleaning, and the use of the either MIG or the USDG, and looking into the policy changes to ensure that the fleet that is necessary to support cleaning is provided. That is the conclusion of our brief, and we are requesting that the select committee notes these solid waste objectives and some of the performance and support that we are providing. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, DDG. GM, do we have anything to add on?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think DDG has covered everything as far as this presentation is concerned, as also as far as my discussion with them in preparation for this meeting. So I don't see anything that is outstanding. And then I will throw it back to yourself so that you can then advise on the way forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, GM and DDG. Let me start by welcoming this presentation and give to honorable members to have a comment or ask question if they do have. Honorable members, here is the presentation in front of you. I noted Honorable Magwala, Honorable Bibi, Honorable De Bruyn, and Honorable Mama Katie Laboskachny, and Honorable Fisa. Or the last, Honorable, the last one is Honorable Mamangwe. Honorable Magwala, the platform is yours. Honorable Magwala. It seems.
Yes, Chairperson.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, the platform.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you to the department for presenting such a very important briefing. It's just as it said that I have not received this briefing because I could have more questions and clarity and small input. But my first question is to ask the land local department in terms of the dumping sites. What is the Act saying about dumping site in terms of the location from dumping site to townships, because there are municipalities that have opened new sites of dumping sites next to our people in terms of environmentally and their health. What is the Act saying in terms of that? I'll just make an example of the local municipality of Pito in KwaNokuthula. In the past recent year or a year or two, if not three, there's a new dumping site that they have opened in that location. And then in terms of that as well, I don't know what is the Act also saying in terms of the capacity of municipalities having enough dumping site and recycle this waste, because most of the municipalities, especially in the Southern Cape, they are all now transporting their dumping to Mosipa municipality. Yeah, and then what is the department or the Act saying in terms of capacitating these municipalities to have their own land, to have enough dumping site or recycle centers? And then in terms of the bylaws that you are speaking about, I see there's municipalities that have not adopted this land work, these bylaws in terms of the briefing that we have done, and there's outstanding municipalities that have not done that. And I don't know, in your briefing when you were doing, I was trying to zoom in and check in terms of how many municipalities have not appointed the officer that specifically needs to check this act in terms of the implementation of this act. That will be all for now, Chairperson.
Oh, Honorable Makwala, thank you very much. Honorable Mama, PP.
Thanks, Honorable Mama Chairperson. Greetings to yourself and also to the DM Mamsoju and also the department and our colleagues. Chairperson, I've got three questions here. And the first one will be, besides the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment and its partners, which other stakeholders were expected to implement the integrated waste management plan? Was the legislation around this, and to what extent was that legislation implementable at lower levels of the government? What were the challenges also and factors that hindered implementation of this legislation from a resource point of view? Second one, Chairperson, can the department provide details about the process for approving landfill sites and how long does it take to approve it? Last one, Chairperson, I would like to know whether there have been any cases lodged for environmental offenses in solid waste management. If yes, were there any successful prosecutions in those cases? Otherwise, thanks for the detailed presentation from the department and from UTM, especially when it comes to different provinces, where you just outlined each provinces. I mean, how far they are when it comes to waste. And where I'm coming from, KZN, now they are doing very well because they are education officers who are out there to the townships, I mean, to exercise awareness to the communities, and also illegal dumpings, and also they are doing sort of adopt a spot so that the community would see the availability of e-waste and also to look after the environment. Thank you, department. Thank you so much. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thanks, Mama. Honorable De Bruin.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you for the department for the presentation. Chairperson, it was mentioned a couple of times during the presentation that municipalities, provinces, and departments has the responsibility to implement the regulations in terms of the Environmental Management Act. But what steps are being taken or can be taken against a municipality, or province, or department that has failed or that is failing to implement these regulations? Because as we know, there's a lot of municipalities across the country they are not implementing these regulations, or they are failing in these regulations, and it is not necessarily always a fact of it's because of a lack of yellow fleet or a lack of labor, or so basically my question is, what measures are in place, or how can this department ensure that we hold the municipalities, the departments, and the provinces accountable for this, and how can we basically, if I can use the word, force them to adhere to these regulations or to implement these regulations? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable De Bruin. Honorable Pisa.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, everybody. Chairperson, I just want to start with the Constitution. The Constitution gave us very, very clear direction that everyone has the right to an environment which is not harmful to their health or well-being. In my visit and oversight on municipalities, I want to start with Northwest. Not one single municipality where it is even discussed at a council meeting the state of solid waste removal or the landfill site. Some of these landfill sites are in such a bad state that provincial roads had to close down. Traffic couldn't flow through there anymore. I just want to know, in terms of the NEMA Act, why is there no implementation from the department side on directives being issued? Because if you go and look in and you see in there the Green Scorpions, there are only 4 officers of the Green Scorpions. 3 are for the inland and 1 is for the coastal lines. So I do not know how these people, how the department expect these people to be able to do this work if you see that there's about 54.2 million tons of solid waste per annum in South Africa. And you see that most of these municipalities are not giving any concern about management that's going on there, where it goes into private land, it goes into, in Tuahing, it's going into the game reserve. In Mafeking, you can barely go any place in Mafeking there, which is the capital of Northwest, where there's not a rubbish dump on the side of the streets, sometimes higher than the entrance of the doors of buildings. Why is there no implementation of the Act per se in each and every one of these municipalities? And what does the Department do of Environment to see that implementation of the Act is done and that there is the constitutional obligations is upheld? Thank you, Chair.
Chair.
Honorable, now it's Honorable Kathy Labuskachne.
Oh, it's me.
You are the last one, Mama.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much for the presentation. My questions are the landfill, the assessment of the waste landfill sites. Is there any role that the department plays at the moment about the unregistered or unlicensed landfill sites in municipalities? And then the quarterly stats that was mentioned, that's coming from the sector, from the different sectors, based on the waste management strategy. In what way does it inform the department, and is there any legal implication if these various sectors does not report on that? And then the waste information system, I got it that the provinces may implement it. What is the kind of information, or what does the department do with that? And is there a thought in the department to have it as a sort of a integrated information system? Because obviously on national level you have a system, and then you've mentioned that the Western Cape and Gauteng implemented their own system because they are allowed to. But wouldn't it be better to have an integrated system if that system can contribute to some better outcomes in waste management? The waste RDI roadmap that has been referred to in this presentation, I just want to know, does the Department of Environmental Affairs contribute from our budget to that, or where do they get the budget to do the research and to do what they need to do? Then the economic potential in waste that's not been sort of looked into. What role does the department play in that, and how? And does the department know in what way municipalities can play a role in this? Is there sort of a guideline? And then we all say that funding is very important, and it came out here, and the department is very honest about that. And thank you for negotiating with National Treasury for ring fencing funding for waste. What I would like to know is, will that ring fencing, or that if it's successful, does the department think of including funding through this grant then also for establishing landfill site? Because in all my other colleagues' questions, this issue comes out of either it's not licensed, or it's in a neighborhood, or in an informal town, human settlement, or it's in town, or whatever. And the little bit of inquiry that I've done is this is very expensive. The norms and standards for waste sites is I think as strict as it should be according to all our legislation, but it is very expensive for a municipality to do those studies, to make sure and to bring in all the layers that is necessary. So very often, I wonder whether that is one of the reasons why there are landfill sites that's licensed, and also one of the reasons, for instance, in the Western Cape, where they make use of more of regional sites where the different municipalities pool their funds to fund one big site because it's cheaper to transport the waste than to develop your own site, as I understand, if I have the correct information. So I would like to know, will the department include the establishing of a landfill site in that grant? And then all these other wonderful projects on good green deeds and the municipal cleanup and greening programs. How does and you gave us a whole, a thorough breakdown of all these projects that's been funded in all the provinces. In all the provinces, they do have projects. But how does the municipality, how does it work? Does the department, the provincial departments let these municipalities know? Does the municipalities know? How do they know to be able to be recognized and to be, to stand in the queue to get the funding for these projects? Thank you, Chair. That is all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abusgafni. Now it's Honorable Ngwenya.
Sorry, Chair, sorry, one last question. I'm so sorry. Could the
Okay.
department please give us a breakdown, if now, not today, but can send it to us, how many green scorpions are there in each of the provinces? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Labusgafni. Honorable Mama, Winnie. Mujamara Huki Kosi. Honorable Mamangwe.
Thanks very much, Chair, and good morning to all the members and the department, and thank you for the presentation. My first question, Chair, is on landfill sites. Most of the landfill sites are approaching their end of life span. And in this regard, Gauteng is one of the provinces that has a challenge of landfill airspace for solid waste management. I wanted to find out, Chair, and check on whether the department has any collaboration plans with provinces to find alternative waste treatment facility to respond to the challenges of landfills site that are approaching their end of their lifespan. If yes, can we get details of those plans? The second question is on IGR structures on solid waste management. Chair, I want to check whether the department has IGR structures of waste management with provinces, nationally and local structures. If yes, how often do these structures meet? The third question, Chair, is on international donor funding. I want to check that has the department received any international donor funding to manage solid waste management? If yes, can we get details of the international donor funding? The last question, Chairperson, is on climate change. I wanted to check that to what extent are the effect of climate affecting the management of solid waste in the country. Thanks very much, Chair.
No, thank you very much, honorable members, for your questions. Oh, Honorable Nana, or who's?
It's me, yeah, Chair, you're right. Chair, I wouldn't want to waste your time. A couple of my colleagues have spoken to the questions that I had, and really, they have to do with the situation in the Eastern Cape. As you will know, I'm from the Eastern Cape. And then colleagues have touched on the state of our municipalities and then non-compliance by municipalities. So I wouldn't really want to waste your time. Suffice to mention a couple of municipalities who are perpetual transgressors and polluters. I mean, in the past, I have mentioned in some of the speeches in Parliament the situation in Inokum-Gijima. Inokum-Gijima, Rosu raid runs straight into the Fish River. And people who are familiar with the Eastern Cape will know the implications because down the river stream, down the river, down Fish River, there are farmers who are farming in dairy and crop farming as well in the area of Craddock, and as you come down to Kirkwood and further down, you know, and that raw sewage that runs into the Fish River then compromises the quality of product of those farmers. Walter Sisulu in Bergersdorp, raw sewage again is running into a river stream that eventually leads up to Fish River. In Great Kai, Umga, people who are familiar with the Eastern Cape will know Umga. As you drive into Umga from Bishop King Williamstown, here is a rubbish dump, a municipal rubbish dump right next to the road. It's an eyesore. It's paper and plastic all over the place, and it boggles one's mind, Chairperson, that we can have this state of affairs. To the department, is it a question of inability by municipalities to discharge this responsibility? If yes, what is the plan? Why is it not taken over probably by a district municipality or a provincial government or national government after all? Because very clearly municipalities don't have an ability to discharge this responsibility. And the list is long, Chairperson. I mean, I don't want to waste your time about municipalities that have blatantly failed in the Eastern Cape insofar as preserving our environment is concerned. Thanks, Chair.
No, thank you very much, honorable members, for your questions. Really, when I started with this meeting, I said this is very key and it's very important topic of today. Mine is just a comment, Honorable DM. You know, when you talk about these waste management, the dirty, whatever I can mention it, really the municipality and the provinces are not doing well. For an example, I remember I even raised this matter long ago with you. There is this, I don't know how can you assist that municipality or the province itself. In Mafikeng, Akamwederemolema Northwest, there is a dam. It's next to the sewage. The municipality, from time to time, they are taking the sewage to the very same dam, the Tontonyani Dam. And in that dam, there is a fishes, community are fishing there, and our cattle are drinking that water. Sometimes when you go in the edge of the dam, you'll see the dying fishes, most because of the sewage. So I don't know, even today when I'm speaking to you, DM, the very same thing happened on Thursday. And then on Saturday, one of the fishers drowned in the water. You know, when the people tried to search him inside the water there, because of the sewage, most of them, they are afraid to get inside. They say, "Woo, look at our skin," and so on. I was there on Saturday because it's my constituency. Can you assist the province? Maybe like Honorable De Brains ask a question, what are measures do you put in place if these people, they are violating the Environmental Management Act, so that our community live healthy and our cattle and everything? So, that's my comment, TM. I give back to you in the department to answer all the questions that were raised by honorable members.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thanks also to the members for those questions. Although many questions focused on certain issues, but I picked up that other questions were repeated by other members. For instance, the questions that were asked by Honorable Ngwenya, Mamowini, they were already then asked by other members of the portfolio, of the select committee. And then DDG and the team are going to respond to those questions. But your last comment, Chairperson, with regard to the dam and the sewerage and people then who are fishing them, I think we had a similar challenge with that big dam in Northwest. What is the name again? The Maufitago Brits. What is that dam?
Yeah, Hartebeespoort Dam.
Yes,
that time the
yes,
fishes
yes,
were, they were dead.
Yeah, there was also such information that we received from a member of a community. But when I took it then to the team, that is minister and colleagues, it's only that I don't have the specific response, but I know that it is the responsibility of Department of Water and Sanitation with our help as of our intervention as the department. But I think Honorable Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation is working on that issue. I will get the information for you, Honorable Chair, and then I will write back to yourself with all the information that I might have. Unfortunately, I didn't expect that to come up now because I know that I did get a response with regard to that dam. Now, listening to yourself, it seems as if it's the same issue. And then also the question that was raised by Honorable Magwala with regard to dumping sites, where they're supposed to be located and the distance between them and whatever institution. I think DDG is going to respond to that, but most of the dumping sites, if not all, they are not meant for being dumping sites. Most of them are parks. And then when people see that nothing is happening in this park, and then they start then dumping on those open spaces. So each and every open space within the municipalities, our people are dumping into those open spaces. And then in some instances, in a way of intervention, would then appoint maybe a team of 20 in an area, EPWP, and then try and clean those spaces. But immediately after it have been cleaned, the following day, again, there are some littering that has happened there. So I think it needs us with all the affected departments to come up, especially municipalities, to come up with a plan of when we have then clean and open space, what is supposed to happen with that space. And that will be the responsibility of the municipalities. But I just wanted to give a picture, because that's one thing that we are fighting with as we speak. And then we have also then initiated programs as department as an intervention to come up then with the cleaning and greening, where we focus mainly on the dumping sites with the municipalities, and then we'll then give the statement as per the presentation by DDG, and then the municipality will have to assist us then in making sure that those spaces after being then cleaned, what activities are supposed to happen in order for us to avoid the redumping of the waste on the same spaces. So then the other issues that has been requested with regard to the process towards the approval of landfills, because I see that many questions has to do with the non-compliance when it comes to the issue of the management of waste in the provinces. One area, again, Chair, that maybe one should also bring to the attention of the members, the issue of the National Waste Management Strategy, which then was approved in 2020 as per the presentation. What after a year, or last year, 2022, we then discovered that many councillors who were trained before 2021 elections, they left with that skill. Hence, then we took it upon ourselves that as the department, we need then to go back to the municipalities together with the province and make sure that we retrain our councillors on how then to implement the national waste management strategy. Because failing to do that or not understanding what is meant by that, it means that we are not going to win this battle of waste in the provinces and the municipalities. Can I then, without any waste of time, Chair, give to DDG Mamkhala to then take us through the responses. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and members.
Thank you, DM, and thank you to honorable members. Maybe just to start, I've got a team with me. I'll respond to some, and then I will also request some of the team members to come in. Maybe just to start off with the question raised by Honorable Magwala in terms of ensuring that municipalities have got enough landfill sites closer to or within their jurisdiction. It's quite imperative that the necessary resources for managing a landfill site are in place. And in some of the cases, you find that municipalities would have done an assessment in terms of the cost of establishing a landfill site and managing it vis-a-vis the cost of using a neighboring landfill site owned by a municipality. So there are varying arrangements there. And because we've also encouraged that we have what I would call regional landfill facilities, there is complexity sometimes in terms of trying to have municipalities coming together on using a regional landfill site, given issues of funding and authority. So it's an area that we are working on together with SALGA to address, but we are trying to ensure that we have efficiency with regard to landfill sites. And I'm stressing landfill sites, given the comment made by the Deputy Minister, because in certain instances, it's unlawful dumping. It's not meant to be a landfill site facility. Then on the question on WMOs not designated, so on slide 22 and 23, we will then provide in writing and the list of those municipalities that have not designated, but in terms of the numbers per province of it's indicated on the last column, but we will provide the list of those municipalities. And then Honorable BB, with regard to integrated waste management plans, who is meant to implement. So from the Waste Act, our department needs to have an integrated waste management plan, which is our national waste management strategy. We have put it in place. All the provinces need to have a valid, reviewed, integrated waste management plans. 3 provinces are lagging behind with regard to that, and they are in the process, and we are managing that process through also the MinTech structure, which is the IGR structure on environment. Some of the issues have to do with, in terms of the challenges of not having the integrated waste management plan, the capacity within the municipality in terms of the human resource capacity that can be able to put a plan together. And the same challenge was also raised at municipal level in terms of some of the municipalities that do not have, because all the local and the metros must have integrated waste management plans. And what we are doing, we have a dedicated support in terms of assisting the provinces as well as the municipalities on the development of the plans. So given the constraints with regard to capacity, we've prioritized some, and even provinces like Limpopo have also started to even get additional capacity to be able to support their locals that do not have these plans. And then on the question that was raised by Honorable De Bruyn about the measures that are in place to hold the provinces and municipalities accountable. So for starters, we try and ensure that where there are constraints that could be addressed through support, we provide that support to get to a satisfactory level of performance. But if not, there are instances wherein criminal enforcement together with administrative enforcement has taken place in order to enforce legislation. We've seen it in some of the municipalities in Limpopo, as well as in the Eastern Cape. We do have Mr. Grant Walters from our Green Scorpions. He will be talking to the questions on the capacity of the Green Scorpions and some of the cases that have been lodged linked to waste related offenses. Honorable Fisachi, there are enforcement notices that have been issued linked to non-compliances linked to the Waste Act. And I think if the stats together with the criminal cases, I think it's something that Mr. Walters can talk to or even supplement in writing with regard to providing the necessary details linked to those cases. Maybe there'll be the ones that are led, the cases that are led by the provinces, given that we have a concurrent mandate. So mainly Mr. Walters and the national colleagues will talk to the hazardous waste facilities that are managed by national, and the provinces will mainly enforce compliance for the non-hazardous land or waste facilities, so that information can be provided. Honorable Labus Kachni, in terms of the waste information system, yes, it's provide for information with regard to the generation of waste, who the generators are, and how much of that waste is being managed and through what a process, whether it's recycling, landfilling, and so forth, in relation to the controls that we have put in place linked to the waste information regulations. So the integration is there. Currently, we are also upgrading the waste information system. So some of the developments in terms of the interfacing and so forth. It's part of the scope of the upgrades of this online information system. On the budget for the Waste Research Development and Innovation Roadmap, the Department of Science and Innovation, as well as the CSIR, mainly funds the research outputs or the program. However, I should mention that on some of the research that is critical for policy making, I'll give an example with regard to waste picking integration guidelines. We were able to go into an agreement with the CSIR and fund from the DFFE side a few years back, some of that research which informed the waste picker integration guidelines. So the CSIR together with the DSI, they do go out and try and secure additional funding if what they are getting from the fiscus is not enough. In terms of what other initiatives are municipalities doing with regard to ensuring that we tap into that economic potential of waste, we have separation at source, in especially targeting metro municipalities because of the high population density. We have high volumes of waste that is being generated. So the establishment of material recovery facilities and buyback centers, as well as transfer stations, are part of what some of the initiatives that municipalities have put in place in order to support the diversion of waste away from landfill. Also, in terms of the cleaning and greening, we have what we call the in-house model as part of our environmental programs, the EPWP approach. And in this case, we have engaged the provinces together with the respective municipalities. Because it's a partnership, the municipalities are meant to provide some of the aspects to ensure success of the program. For example, personal protective equipment for the participants that would be doing the cleaning, also the collection of the waste on a daily basis, and also monitoring of the participants that are cleaning. So it's part of the key commitment requirements that the DFFE requires from the municipality in order to be able to engage. And then on the IGR structures, Honorable Ngwenya, as part of managing the waste management space across the 3 spheres of government, at a ministerial level, we have a structure wherein the minister, deputy minister, and the MECs and the metro, either the MMCs responsible for environment, they sit in as part of the MINMEC structure. And at HOD level, the structures, they sit on a quarterly basis. At an HOD level is our DG together with the HODs of the provincial environment departments. And below that, we have working group 8, wherein we have the designated waste management officers from the provinces sitting in with national, the branch chemicals and waste management, as well as SALGA. This working group 8 structure sits on a quarterly basis. At provincial level, various provinces have got provincial waste management fora. They are meant to sit on a quarterly basis, and also at the district level, where in the locals under each district, they are meant to also come together before they go to their provincial waste management forum. On the question raised, okay, I think the Deputy Minister touched on the matters that relate to sewage and wastewater that are also worked with the Department of Water and Sanitation. Maybe just to indicate that where there has to be intervention in the municipality, we have worked with the Department of Cooperative Governance. For example, in the case of Mangaung, as a department, we have availed an official, a senior manager who is now part of the national intervention. He is assisting on waste management aspects, but it's just meant to be an intervention just to assist, and so provinces are meant to monitor performance, and the expectation is that the intervention firstly is initiated at a provincial level, and then if there are any issues or if there's a need to then consider national intervention, it can be looked into. I would then, through you, Chairperson, I would ask that Mayor Michelle Govender come in to attend to the question raised by Honorable Magwala on buffer zones in terms of landfill sites that are established in residential areas. What should be the distances between those and the sites? And there was also a question raised on the process. I think it was raised by Honorable Bibi on the landfill sites licensing process. What is the process there? So it will be Mayor Govender coming in, and after Mayor Govender, I will ask Mr. Masupa Mushweshwe to come in. There was a question raised linked to the landfill airspace that is being consumed. What are we doing in terms of supporting the utilization of alternative waste technology? The case of Gauteng was emphasized. Over to you, Michelle, through you, Chairperson.
Thank you, honorable members, and through you, Chair. I'll answer the two questions that were raised, one by Honorable Magwala in terms of the proximity to settlements in terms of dumping sites. Maybe just a clarification up front, dumping sites are illegal. So these are sites that just come up anyway. People find open areas and dump on that. That is an illegal activity, which I'm sure other officials within the department will indicate what kind of cleaning and greening measures are in place. But when it comes to the formal landfill sites, there is a process that is followed to understand the location. Part of the EIA process takes into consideration the proximity to settlements, the air dispersion in that area, what kind of waste is intended to be disposed of at a particular site. And all of that is used to determine a buffer zone, which then means that that buffer zone must have enough space to allow these emissions to dissipate without affecting communities. And there are, in terms of the Waste Act, certain activities that could be allowed within the buffer zone, which are compatible with the landfill site. So not housing and that kind of thing, but maybe another industry in that regard. But this is what happens when in the process when we start looking at the location of a landfill site. Now, linked to that is that the question raised by Honorable Bibi was, in terms of the approval of the landfill sites, what is the time frame? We've got a legislated time frame for this, but I think I will stick to the part which then says how much of time do we as authorities have in making a decision, because the authorities will only make a decision when a final basic assessment report or a final environmental impact report is tabled with us, which would then assess all impacts in terms of this landfill site. And once that is done, we also have a concurrence arrangement with the Department of Water and Sanitation, because they are responsible for giving us comments and authorization on the engineering aspect relating to a landfill. So the law is very clear in terms of what liners and protection barriers must be put in place to ensure that the operation of the landfill site then does not impact on ground water, surface water, and people in the vicinity. And once that approval is given for meet muster, meaning that it meets the requirements of the legislation. And once we accept it as a department, we've got 107 days in which to make a decision. So that covers the time frame. What we are not in control of is the time that an environmental assessment practitioner, and whether it be a municipality or province, have or take in terms of compiling the relevant reports. What we can manage is when it gets to us, we can ensure that within 107 days, we make a decision, whether it is positive or whether it is negative, but that is the time frame. Thank you, DDG, and thank you, honorable members.
Thank you, Michelle. And through you, Chair, can I request Mr. Grant Walters just to talk to the enforcement related aspects, especially on the waste matters?
Good morning, DDG. Good morning, Deputy Minister, DG, and Honorable Chair, Honorable Members. In terms of the question by Honorable Labuschagne, as far as the capacity of the green scorpions are concerned throughout the country, according to our 2021-2022 report, we've got about 3,408 designated environmental management inspectors. 413 of these inspectors are designated within the local authorities. There is about 3,000 that is designated at a national and provincial level, but a great proportion of these officials are designated within our national parks. So in particular, SANParks, which is sitting with about 1,258 environmental management inspectors. That leaves us at about 1,700 of the remaining officials are designated within the provincial and the national sphere of government. Within the national department, we're sitting with less than 10% of the officials that would then be required to do or undertake compliance and enforcement in relation to, in particular, the hazardous waste component of the laws that we regulate. the greater percentage of the remaining officials are then designated within the provincial sphere that looks specifically at undertaking compliance and enforcement when it comes to general waste-related matters. Now, honourable members, in terms of compliance and enforcement, it is a concurrent competence that we share with the provincial sphere of government. Their role by and large extends to monitor compliance and to undertake enforcement when it comes to general waste-related matters. But notwithstanding that particular issue, we have noted that general landfill sites is a continuous problem. We've got a project that is registered within the Mintec Working Group 4 structure that deals with general landfill site management. This project has been ongoing for a number of years. There has been an ongoing tendency or trend downwards, unfortunately. Most of the sites are managed and operated by the local sphere of government. And having noted the ongoing downward trend in compliance, is that we are now moving the project into far more a focused enforcement-driven operation for the coming financial year. So we have a project, and I've said the numbers are there, the report has been there, is there, and that we can distribute to the members so that you could see just over the years what the compliance profile of a number of these landfill sites have been. As I've said, we are moving it into a more concerted enforcement-driven approach. Our role as the national department would be to coordinate the project and to ensure that the matter moves forward. So the provinces would then have to report in terms of MTSF deliverables that we've set out in our Mintec project. So we can circulate that project if you would like to see that. In terms of, there has been a number of questions that has been raised in relation to sewage issues and the problems that we are facing in a number of the municipal areas. As have been stated previously, the primary regulator here is the Department of Water and Sanitation. But more recently, the Department of Water and Sanitation has approached Environmental Affairs or DFFE for some assistance in terms of our enforcement capabilities, where that is linked to undertaking criminal enforcement action. That has happened now in a number of matters that has been reported directly to the South African Police Services. We have got a standard operating procedure with them where we would take on the criminal investigation aspects linked to sewage-related matters. There's been a number of cases throughout the country that is in varying areas of investigation currently. But we do have a breakdown of where we stand with those criminal investigations. There has been a landmark case, and we've made quite good breakthroughs in terms of the prosecution or at the prosecutorial realm. One standout case has been State versus Rand West Municipality, where there has been a conviction against a municipality for a sewage-related matters. And so that conviction is there. We do, as I said, we've got a report on these issues. A number of these matters have already been referred to the prosecutors. As it stands, there has been great interest within the national NPA, and we have gone through a training initiative with them just over the last 2 weeks, just to raise the profile in terms of sewage-related issues and the impact on the environment. So that is currently where we stand in terms of the enforcement or compliance and enforcement-related responses, DDG. I'll leave it here, and if there's any follow-up questions, I would attend to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, can I ask Mr. Masupha Moshweshwe to just talk about the waste flagship program in relation to specifically metros and the approach that we're taking to address the shortage in landfill airspace.
Thank you very much, DDG and Chair and honourable members. Since last year, the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment has been partnering with Infrastructure South Africa and the Investment and Infrastructure Office in the Presidency to look at a programmatic approach to waste infrastructure delivery. This resulted in a waste infrastructure program, strategic integrated project being registered and gazetted in December last year. And under it are a number of large-scale waste infrastructure interventions which should assist in alleviating the challenge around diminishing landfill airspace. The focus in terms of this was a methodology which was approved through working group MinTech and MinMec last year, which focuses on driving improved levels of compliance and enforcement in the top 40 largest operational public and private sector landfills throughout the country. So there are over 500 registered landfills throughout the country, but the ones that receive the most amount of waste volume and therefore have the potential for impact on the environment are centered around the top 40 landfills. And these are primarily in the large metro areas as well as adjacent municipalities. So this focus on the top 40 landfills allows us to have a significant percentage coverage in excess of 50% of total waste, general waste disposal. And the mechanism is to create a collaboration between environmental compliance and enforcement at the municipal level, at the provincial level, and the national government level. And through this greater level of focus, driving improved levels of compliance. It also allows for a benchmarking of approaches across the different municipalities and provinces, and the standardization of tools such as those used for quarterly internal audits, external audits, the use of risk-based approaches in terms of external audits, benchmarks that exist around waste collection rates, waste disposal market rates for landfills, etc. Because fundamentally, the large metros should be investable in terms of alternative waste treatment technologies on a standalone basis, as they have inherent advantages such as economies of scale, proximity to processing facilities, large populations, and therefore should be financially sustainable in terms of waste infrastructure with little financial support from the fiscus. But what we find in practice is that a number of these have challenges in terms of not having market-related waste disposal rates. There's a significant variation of disposal rates for general waste that tend towards 700 Rand a ton to as little as 300 Rand a ton. This variation therefore makes the investment by the private sector of alternative waste treatment technologies to be difficult. And therefore the focus of this Top 40 Landfill Forum is to drive both increased focus in terms of compliance and enforcement, but also for the appropriate pricing of landfill disposal such that it speaks to the challenges of scarcity. The question was raised around diminishing landfill airspace in Gauteng. That is a factor that has been seen playing out in different parts of the country and not just in Gauteng. So that element of the importance of the pricing of scarcity of landfill airspace also becomes an important mechanism. So this is done, therefore, to create the opportunity for private sector investment within the space. And in this regard, we've had the opportunity to engage with the Infrastructure Fund, with a number of the DFIs, including the DBSA and IDC, as well as a number of the multilateral development banks around a investment approach that crowds in private sector participation in developing alternative waste treatment technologies. This would have a baseline of funding from the department in order to allow for a blended finance approach, and therefore crowd in additional investments to support mechanisms that exist through the department, like the Recycling Enterprise Support Program. So one of the projects that has been targeted for this is the Alternative Waste Treatment Technology project in Johannesburg for the development of a waste-to-energy facility. This is a program that has been in the pipeline for a number of years, including having a number of feasibility studies being done. The current one is being supported through DBSA. And where it sits is that there's a challenge in terms of the cost-benefit analysis because the disposal rates that Johannesburg charges are, as a comparator, less than half of what Cape Town charges for general waste disposal. And therefore, the project has challenges in terms of meeting that cost-benefit hurdle. So this importance of driving a greater compliance and enforcement, this mechanism of shared learnings and benchmarkings across different metropolitan municipalities and provinces, and ultimately then leading to more market reflective waste disposal rates is important in terms of enabling the crowding in of private sector investment, as well as enabling projects like the Waste to Energy project. We have had an opportunity also to engage with the board of Pick It Up, as well as the management of the city of Johannesburg, and we'll be assisting them going forward in terms of helping to bring projects like this to fruition. Thanks. Back to you, Chair, and DDG.
Thank you. Thank you. Through you, Chair. There's a question that was raised by Honorable Ngwenya on international donor funding. I'm going to ask for Mechilitsile Garaba to come in on that one. And the last one would be also from Honorable Ngwenya on the climate change effect. I will ask Mr. Gaudam to come in, given that the KZN floods are part of what also we have been able to manage through disaster management, and they also had an impact on the solid waste infrastructure in terms of us adapting to the changes brought by climate change. Over to you, Mayor Ligaraba, through the chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you, Deputy Minister, and thank you to the committee members. In terms of the donor funds that we received, we did receive a donor funds of the value of 1.4 million USD in 2019 for the project related to a little bit of what Mr. Mushishe was referring to. The idea behind the project was to establish the possibility of using alternative waste technologies in terms of diverting organic waste from the landfill. The project was meant to do a feasibility study, and out of that project, we did identify that there is possibility of rolling out these alternative technologies in 30 municipalities in South Africa. At this present moment, adding up to what Mr. Musheshe was referring to, we are also now sourcing additional funds in terms of rolling out using the process that he elaborated here. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Last one, Mr. Hauta Mokoena, on the impacts of climate change on solid waste.
Thank you very much, DG. Good afternoon, DM, Honorable Chair and Honorable members. Is an intervention relating to the floods and how they've affected the waste infrastructure. Our initial response as the sector included the emergency authorizations that we needed to issue, either in terms of environmental impact assessments that were conducted, or for waste licenses for infrastructure that got damaged either through the waste cells that got affected, or the effluent treatment plants that got damaged because of the floods. And because of the disaster period, we had to provide the emergency authorization. The other areas that were affected is access roads, as indicated by Honorable Ngwenya, which were attended to by municipality working with the Department of Water and Sanitation as well as Defense, because some of them were crossover bridges from one area to another in areas that has bridges separating different areas or separating the landfill site with the main entrance point. So the climate change intervention, which came as a result of the cooperation between national government, provincial government, municipality, the University of KwaZulu-Natal, assisted in terms of the early warning and detection system to say in an area which had informal settlements or shacks which could have been easily washed away, the early warning system had the WhatsApp group as part of means of communication for the community as well as other stakeholders, the researchers. And through that, on the day of the event, which is the flood, the researchers could detect a 2-meter rise in the water level of the river from upstream and up the catchment, where there was already rise in water levels. And that meant when that 2-meter water level rise get to the lower lying areas where the shacks are and the informal settlement, they were going to be washed away. So they were quickly informed, and they quickly evacuated the shacks. And most of those communities in that area next to the river, adjacent to the river, which was encroaching to the river, got saved as a result of the early warning systems, as a result of climate change research work that is taking place as part of cooperation between government at national, provincial, municipality, as well as institutions of higher learning. So something that assisted quite a lot, because we have quite a lot of informal waste pickers who reside in those areas, largely because of close proximity to their areas where they collect the waste material. So these are some of the interventions that the department in that period of floods got involved in assisting the municipality as well as other areas that were affected, such as the Tswaying in the northwest, Tswaying as well as the KwaZulu-Natal, had areas that related to settlements. There, as department or province, we could only assist with emergency environmental authorizations, either at national or at provincial level. Then the Department of Human Settlement got involved in the actual relocation of communities that were affected, but which is another process by our sister department. Thank you very much to DG, DM, as well as Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. To the team. Back to you, DM and Honorable Chair.
DM.
Thank you very much, Chair. I was waiting for you to recognize me. Yeah,
Sorry,
I think the department under the leadership of DDG, they responded to the questions that has been asked by members. I think also Mr. Masupa went deep into the issues of the landfills in his response. So, Chair, if maybe in our response, there are areas that we did not respond satisfactorily, we are then prepared to respond as usual in a way of writing to yourself with those responses, but only if you can alert us which are those areas that we did not respond effectively. Then we can always come back and in a written form to respond to those questions as we usually do. Thank you very much, Chairperson. From myself, I'm happy the way you handled it and the way members then ask questions and the responses from the department. Again, if there are some that are not effectively responded to, we are prepared already to respond in a written form. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, DM and your team, for responding all the questions that was asked by honorable members. Honorable members, I just want to check with you, do you have any question that is not responded? Or do you have any question that you want the department to put in writing? I'll see by hand. Okay, Honorable Magwala is raising his hand. Means he needs some clarity. Honorable Magwala.
Thank you, Chairperson. Let me thank the department for answering the questions. But one, Chairperson, the question that I first asked, I think the department didn't hear me properly. The site that I was speaking about, that is next to the location in Kwanogotula in Plettenberg Bay, it's not an illegal dumping site. It's a depot where the municipality has identified and put up a formal structure of depot, that where the refugees that is collected in the town, in the whole municipality, that's where it gets recycled and so ever. That is the site that I was referring to. I was not referring to an illegal dumping site. I was referring to a formal site where the municipality, if it's not 2 years, I know it's a previous administration. The mayor now is sitting as a district mayor, Memory Poison. So this is the one that started that initiative in Plato when I was still a mayor. That is the landmark, but it can be replied to Chairperson through writing. I'll be fine with that. But thank you for answering all the other questions that I had. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Magwala. GM, Honorable Magwala requested in writing. Maybe the department must go and check first so that when they come with the answer, it will be the right answer. So we give you back to closing remark, to give us a closing remark, Honorable TM. And then from there, we request the department to leave And then the members of parliament must remain in the platform so that we can continue the business of the committee. Honorable DM. Deputy
Thank you
Minister.
very much. Thank you very much, Chairperson. And thanks to honorable members. The structure that the honorable member are referring to, can I just get the municipality? I didn't hear which municipality is that, but I did write it down that there is a structure which is in place, but it's not utilized the way it's supposed to be. Can I just get that from honorable? Is it Kuala? Makwala, Kuala. Yeah, which is that? Which area is that?
It's Honorable Makwala.
Honorable Makwala.
Yeah, Honorable Mbulelo Makwala. The structure, it's in Pito municipality, Pito, in the Southern Cape district. It's called now Eden Municipality District. It's the last municipality when you go to Eastern Cape, coming from Cape Town. It's Pito, P-I-T-O-U, Pito municipality.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. Thank you. I've got it.
Yeah, the structure is in KwaNokutula. When you enter from Platte, you will see it on your right hand side. You can't miss it.
No, thank you very much, honorable member. I just wanted to be 100% sure that we had the member that where this structure is or the depot is, so that we can make a follow-up and respond to you then accordingly. Chairperson, thank you very much, and thanks also to honorable members. I don't have a closing remark that is going then to for us, but what I can say is that I'm happy that at least we are being relieved now, Chairperson, as you know that we are going to prepare then for our budget vote, which is happening on the 8th, where we'll then be in the NCOP, is where all of us then will meet. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. And indeed, we appreciate the effort. Sometimes we used to say, let the praise be on it's supposed to be. I'm not praising the department, but they are doing very well. Since this term, really the minister and the deputy minister is attending and is answering our question. Not only answering the question, but they are doing very well. We can even see the APP, they did well. Thank you very much, DM. Keep it up.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thanks to the members.
You are released. While the Honorable DM and her team are going, Amanda and Bulelwa, can you put the report and the minutes of the previous meeting? Because we don't have time. We stay along here because this topic is very important. Honorable member, I just want to check with you. Did you receive the report on time of these and the minutes? Did you receive them? Because in the morning it was likely that some, maybe there is a breakdown here, network for other members to receive the presentation. Members, did you receive your minutes on time?
Chairperson, it's Honorable Makwa. I don't know. I didn't receive anything from the department. It's only the notice that I received from the department. So don't know. Baban kabela ngaphandle na kule committee.
No, it's not like that. Maybe you can, let's if you are around Cape Town, just go to Sally and check what is happening. Maybe your email. Normally the parliament email, they give us a problem. You will thought you have sent to someone, because Amanda and Bulelo, they just gave me the list of all members that they have sent to, the information, the presentation, and all reports and the minutes. So your name is appearing there. So that's why I'm saying go and check. Maybe there is a technical problem there. Honorable members. And also I apologize for that, Honorable Magwala. Honorable members, did you receive the minutes on time? Honorable members, do you want me to call you by names?
No, Chairperson, don't worry, Chairperson. I did go through to the minutes. They reflect exactly what we're talking about. So I propose I propose the adoption of the minutes, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Bibi. Honorable, any seconder? Any seconder for these minutes? Let me second Honorable Mama. So the minutes are fully due, adopted. Now it's a report. It's a report. It's the report on the Nairobi Convention, activities of Nairobi Convention, 36 today. The select committee, okay, the protocol, this one, yes. Honorable members, here is the protocol and the report on protocol of Nairobi Convention in front of you. Do you have anything to rectify or sentence construction or any spelling? Do you want to rectify it? None. I put the report in front of you for adoption, honorable members.
Chairperson, PP moves for the adoption of the minutes. Thank you.
For the report, Mama.
Oh, we report, so ma. Sorry, Slan. PP moves for the adoption of the report. Thank you.
Any seconder of the report on the protocol? Nairobi Convention protocol? Any seconder? Honorable members, any seconder? Let me second. I also second Honorable Bibi. The next report, Amanda or Bulelwa, the next report. The next report, are you putting it on the screen? Honorable members, did you receive the report on time? so that we can go through it, and if there are any problem, we can rectify it. This is the report on the agreement. The protection management and the development of the marine and the coastal environment in the Western and Indian Ocean, Nairobi Convention. Honorable members, any mistake here? None. I put it in front of you for the adoption, honorable members.
Chairperson, BP moves for the adoption of the report. Thank you.
Honorable BB, move for the adoption of the report. Any seconder? Tabang, can you mute?
Oh, yes, yes.
Sorry. Honorable member, any seconder? Let me second Honorable BB. This report is duly adopted. We adopt the minutes and the two reports. So anything else, Amanda and Bulelwa?
No, Chair, that's all we have on the agenda for today.
This brings us to the end of our meeting, and thank you very much, honorable members. Today we took time because of the importance of this. Thank you very much for your time and availing yourself. I know it's very, very busy week, but you make sure that you attend. Thank you very much. This meeting is duly adjourned.
Thank you, Mama.